Kentucky lawmakers are looking hard at election reform in the Commonwealth. House Bill 139 was heavily amended in committee this week, adding in the language of two other bills this session, also influencing elections. The bill passed the Senate floor on party lines on Thursday and is now headed back to the House for that chamber to agree on the new changes. The original House Bill 139 was drafted as a continuous improvement bill to identify procedural or technical issues that could hinder future elections. It passed the House 92-1 in February. Those provisions are maintained in the new language, adding in Senate Bill 154, eliminating Social Security or public benefits cards as identification to vote since they lack a photo, and House Bill 534, authorizing the State Board of Elections to have agreements with federal agencies to share certain information.
It doesn't actually require that data to be given at this point. It simply authorizes the State Board of Elections to work to reach memorandums of agreement with the federal agencies. And the data that it will be giving is limited to name, date of birth, and last four Social Security number.
It just says we're going to enter into negotiations about this. It doesn't lay out enough specifics. When we are giving information about our voters to the federal government, I would like more information about that process, the goals and the limitations.
Currently, the Trump administration is suing more than a dozen states, including Kentucky, for refusing to share voter data. A spokesperson for Secretary of State Michael Adams tells RWB that Secretary Adams is pleased to have worked with legislators to refine this bill and strongly supports the current version. Representative Gordon, I'll start here with you. If we look at the federal level right now, there's a lot of jockeying over the SAVE Act, a big elections bill in Congress. How much is this legislation being influenced by that debate that's happening federally, given y'all have already had a debate over House Bill 534?
I really don't think so at all. I think it's really just about integrity, and people want to ensure that people that are registered to vote are only the ones that are voting. And so anything that we can do to make our elections more secure are the things that are important to this caucus.
Representative Hancock?
I think that it is, especially is it 535?
534.
534 is the bill that I think is coming down from a federal political standpoint. That bill has never been good, and it still is not good in its current form. What we have is very safe elections. It's been proven time and time again. We have on a federal level, especially coming out of our president that has questioned elections because he lost. I think that this bill is eroding public trust in our elections because we've not had any fraud. We have not had any illegal immigrants voting. We all want fair and free elections, but this bill does not do that. The original version of the bill was a good cleanup bill. I think Representative Decker does a great job every year making sure that our elections are secure. This other bill does not do that, and it's still a terrible bill.
You make some points that Senator Berg made on the floor on Thursday. She said that this bill was meant to address something that never happened. A couple of years ago, we passed a constitutional amendment on non-citizen voting. The Secretary of State frequently puts out reports on cleaning up the rolls, and I think he'd probably argue he's removed more from the rolls than many other Secretary of States before him. So why are we continuing to hear some of this messaging being used?
I think they're trying to make our election systems political. I think it's coming from our president. He has over and over again falsely and unproven stated that the election was stolen in 2020. That is a threat to our democracy, and I think as a state, and we have Secretary Adams who does a fantastic job, we need to not erode the public trust and let them know that our elections are fair and are free, and that if there is anything, there's safeguards in place. But every time we talk about these things, it's just reiterating this delusion that our president has.
Do you have any response to that?
We show an ID when we rent a car. We show an ID when we rent a hotel room. Having to show an ID is not anything that is out of the question, and it does definitely ensure that our elections are fair.
So this is a pretty big elections bill as well, so I want to touch on some other parts that are in it, including a provision that allowed judges to identify with a political party. Whenever this debate inevitably comes to the House, what are your thoughts on that provision?
Well, I did file an amendment to remove that piece, because this is yet another reason. Every time we stick politics into these types of things, it ends up being bad. That our judicial system, it feels like that has been, especially in this session, continuously attacked. Through the budget cuts, through the impeachment process, and now with this. I had spoke to Representative Johnson about getting that amendment called, and he said it was a First Amendment issue. I don't believe that. I believe that we need to protect the bias of our judicial system, and this is just another way to erode that.
Your thoughts, Representative Gordon?
And I totally disagree. You know, if you look at our Supreme Court justices, you know, they have confirmation hearings, and so they can vet them on all of these important issues. So I think it's important to the voter that they see where the judges stand on broad issues.
Just a few seconds left here. This is a bill that's also going to be removing Social Security cards and EBT, public benefits cards, as possible voter ID. Should that step be taken?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think it's, I think this is another one of those issues. I think it's less than like 0.000% that those are used. And the times that they are used are usually people just trying to test the system. Most people have a photo ID, and I think that that is a part of the election integrity. So I don't think by removing that that's any type of voter suppression. I think it's just a cleanup because it's not really happening anyway.
So some small agreement there, at least on that provision.
That's right.
All right.
That's right.